When you think country music, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Your favorite artist? The city of Nashville? How about WSM Radio? Well, no matter what comes to mind, I think we can all agree that country music wouldn't be what it is today without the Grand Ole Opry. So we thought it would be a good idea to pay tribute to that most enduring symbol of the music we know and love. So we invited tons of country music legends to join in the celebration. Singers, songwriters, the movers and shakers of country music history. These are the stories of the Opry you won't hear anywhere else. And the music and memories made on that stage will last for many generations to come. Join us, won't you, as Country's Family Reunion pays tribute to the Opry. Welcome to Country's Family Reunion. Salute to the Opry.
We've talked a lot today about our friends at the Grand Ole Opry as we salute the Grand Ole Opry on Country's Family Reunion. I don't think anybody has mentioned the name of Roy Acuff, but I want to do that because some of my greatest memories of being on the Opry were the nights that Mr. Roy would come out on the stage and allow me to share the spotlight with him and do this song right here. I got a lot of wonderful memories. If we have time, I'll share some of you, but first I'd like to do the song, and I hope you'll enjoy it, and I hope maybe you remember it. One night we were out on tour getting ready to do a show. And at the time, it really wasn't anything all that special. It was what you might call just another one-night stand. When I looked over my guitar, and there stood an old man. His cowboy clothes were frayed and worn, and his boots were far from new. He said, "I'd like to sit in with your band." You see, I'm a country singer too. Yeah, well, we just all had a big laugh. When I looked back at the old man, there was a tear in his eye. So I told the band to cool, 'cause I didn't want to see him cry. He reached down and he took my guitar with a determined look on his face. But then as he started to play and sing, a look of sadness took its place. He said, "I've sang my songs from Maine to California, seen the world through the window of a car. I never made a dime back when I made it, never saved a dime. I always thought someday I'd be a star, but now my voice is cracked and no one wants me. My wife gave up on me years ago. It's been so long, my kid don't even know me. And picking and singing is the only life I know." And then he said,
"I wonder if God likes country music. Will there be a place up there to sing my song? Will he make my fingers nimble like they used to be, so I can play the chord and sing along? I wonder if God likes country music."
I just stood there.
Will there be a place
None of us
up there
really knew what to say. He took my old guitar and he sat it down ever so gently. And then as he turned to leave, the band stood up and applauded. But I can still hear his words today.
I wonder if God likes country music. Will there be a place up there to sing my song? Will he make my fingers nimble like they used to be, so I can play the chord and sing along?
John Conlee. Thank you, pal.
Thank you, Bill. It was my honor. I thank you so much for asking me to do that with you. I saw Mr. Roy and you do that song several times on the Opry, never dreaming that I would, and I'm not filling his shoes, believe me, but I'm honored to just do his part for this.
Well, that's big shoes to fill, regardless of who does it, but thank you. I couldn't think of anybody that could do it any better than you, and I appreciate you doing it. Really.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
John Conlee.
Thank you.
Let me show you a picture. I keep this picture in a frame right inside my door where I go in from my garage. It's the first thing I see when I walk in my door at night, and it's a picture of me and Mr. Acuff doing that awesome song on the Opry. And there's no way that I can do it anywhere without thinking of him and the many times that. And you know, an interesting thing about it that the people in this room I think will appreciate. Mr. Roy would never do that song. I would go to his dressing room and ask him if we could do that song. He would never do it unless I agreed to rehearse it before. He would come to my dressing room, usually because my band would play, and he would, unless we would rehearse it, he would not do it. As well as he knew it and everything, he wanted to rehearse it every time.
Wow.
And one of the most special memories is the last night that we did it. Carolee, you were probably there. I'm sure you were in the group. Mr. Roy was so frail and so thin. And he came on the stage the very last time we did it. I've got a picture of it over there in the book, but I won't show it out right now. But Roy came on the stage. He would walk on the stage like John did. He would stay in the shadows until it was time for his part, and he would come out. And the last night we did it, he never opened his eyes. He walked out and he closed his eyes, and he sang the whole song with his eyes closed.
Oh my.
And you could just look at him and tell. I knew the minute he walked out, this was going to be the last time that we did it, because I just knew he didn't have the strength to come back and ever do it again. And we sang the song. He never opened his eyes. And I think the audience sensed that night, too, that it was something special, because the minute the song was over, they leaped to their feet and they started applauding. And Mr. Acuff still had not opened his eyes. And I walked over to him and I put my arm around his shoulder, and he had on a sport coat. And I could feel how thin he was, coming even through the sport coat and everything. And the people were standing, and he was just standing there, and I leaned over in his ear. And this just points up so much of what kind of a man he was and how he was until the very end. I leaned over in his ear, and I said, "Mr. Roy, they're standing up." He said, "They ain't going home, are they?" He still had that sense of humor right up to the very end, and it was special. And I appreciate the opportunity to do that today, although I forgot the words in 2 or 3 places. I'm like you, Ray Pilla. I get nervous in here, too. George Hamilton, you had a very unique and special relationship with an Opry legend, too, the great Ernest Tubb.
Well, when I was a kid back in North Carolina, my folks, it seems hard to believe today, but they used to put me on a Greyhound bus on Friday afternoon and send me out to Nashville. It was 450 miles each way. And I'd come out to Nashville, and try to slip in backstage at the Opry and meet some of my heroes that I've been listening to. And Ernest Tubb saw me one night back there with my cardboard guitar case. I was presumptuous enough to take a guitar with me out to Nashville. And he invited me to be on the Midnight Jamboree without any audition. He hadn't heard me sing, didn't have a clue whether I had a clue. And he put me on his show. And I heard through the years so many of those kind of stories. Maybe some of you people had the same experience with Ernest. He might have befriended you when you were a kid or a newcomer to country music. There's a man in the Bible called Barnabas, and they tell me that his name meant the encourager, the son of encouragement. And that's what Ernest Tubb was. He was a Barnabas man. He was an encourager. A lot of you probably heard the story about the night Elvis appeared on the Opry and didn't go over all that well. He was a little bit ahead of his time, I guess. Elvis sang a Bill Monroe song, a bluegrass song, kind of with a few wiggles and wobbles and things, and the Opry audience just wasn't quite ready for that. And they say that it didn't go over very well. Well, Ernest Tubb could see something there in that kid from Memphis, and he went over and invited Elvis to come down to the Midnight Jamboree and perform on the Jamboree. Ernest could see the talent, and he understood that Elvis was different, very unique for those times in the mid-50s, but he also could see the talent, and he encouraged him. A lot of people don't know this, but Ernest Tubb, I'm told, and probably Keith Bilbrey can verify it because he and E.T. were good friends. Billy Bird told me that Ernest was the first person to bring electric instruments to the Grand Ole Opry.
As far as I know, that's true. I asked Roy Acuff about it one time, Mr. Acuff, and he said, well, I'm glad Ernest had good luck with that. All we could ever do was get one to squall. But yeah, Ernest brought the electric guitar.
It underscores the fact that although we think of E.T. as a traditionalist, he was an innovator.
That's right.
He was a revolution of his own in a way. No wonder he understood Elvis and could see the potential that Elvis had. He brought electric instruments to the Opry. But you know, much more important than all of that was the fact that he was a kind, gentle, warm human being. And he loved people, and especially little people that hadn't made it yet, hadn't become famous. And he loved giving them a shot, and giving them a helping hand. I was just one of many that happened to. Ernest Tubb was a Barnabas man, and I remember him so well. The first time I sang on the Grand Ole Opry in 1959, he introduced me. And then in 1960, in February, when I joined the Opry, he introduced me then as well. And another interesting sidelight to all this conversation is when Tink and I moved to Nashville, we rented a duplex apartment over on Chesterfield Avenue off West End. And Billy Bird lived across the street from me. So I met Billy Bird, and he had retired from the road then, but he kind of took a liking to me and went on the road with me for a while before I had a band or anything and toured with me. But we're remembering tonight people like Billy Bird and Ernest Tubb and all the others that have been mentioned tonight. And I love the way you talked about Minnie Pearl. That was masterful. It was beautiful. Ernest Tubb was a lot like Minnie Pearl. He was a Barnabas man and an encourager. The last point I want to make is he was not only a great artist, but he was a great songwriter. We've talked a lot about songwriters tonight. I'm sure you knew he wrote Walking the Floor, but that was just the tip of the iceberg. He wrote a lot of great country songs, and he's not often talked about as a songwriter, but he certainly was that. I miss E.T., and I loved E.T., and I'd like to do a song of his that he wrote, And we recently recorded it down in Texas for Heart of Texas Records. I want to dedicate it in memory of the great Texas troubadour, E.T.
All right.
There's a little bit of everything in Texas. Just look around and you will see. There's a little bit of everything in Texas, and a whole lot of Texas in me. There are 47 states all around it. Each of them has treasures of their own, but everything they boast of, I sure found it. And we've got them all right there at home. If you love old sunny California, or perhaps the hills of Tennessee, a little bit of everything in Texas, and I bet my boots you will agree that there's a little bit of everything in Texas. Really, I'm not bragging, don't you see? There's a little bit of everything in Texas, and a whole lot of Texas in me. All right. How about it, Brother Johnson back there? Mike Johnson. Jimmy Camps now. If you love old sunny California, or perhaps the hills of Tennessee, there's a little bit of everything in Texas, and I bet my boots you will agree. There's a little bit of everything in Texas. Really, I'm not bragging, don't you see? There's a little bit of everything in Texas, and a whole lot of Texas in me. There's a whole lot of Texas in me. Jimmy now. Thank you.
Great, George. Thank you.
Yes,
you know, when you turning around and acknowledging the band like that, E.T. did that on his records. I mean, he made Billy Bird into a household name. And,
on the records,
various ones that he would.
And Mike Johnson on the steel, he did real good.
You know, another one of the people that Ernest helped tremendously was the one you were talking about a while ago, our friend Skeeter Davis.
Yeah, I remember she toured with them. And of course, Ernest helped me so much when I first came to Nashville. Of course, I worked out of Pamper Music and House Miss Artist Agency where Ernest was, and he put me on his television show. And that's where Jack Green was on the TV show too, and that's where Jack and I first realized our voices would blend to sing together. But yeah, Ernest gave me a great compliment one time when he told Hal that it would be okay, because I was on the television show, but he worked a lot of small towns I couldn't fly to. So he finally reluctantly agreed to have me ride the bus. And a few trips later, Hal Smith asked him how it was going with Jeannie, and he said, "You never know there's a girl on the bus." So I always took that as a compliment.
He was saying you were one of the guys.
That's right, yeah.
He helped so many people, George. talking about, I'm thinking of Skeeter, I'm thinking of Stonewall. First time Connie Smith ever sang on WSM, it was when Ernest put her on the Midnight Jamboree. It's just, the list would just go on forever.
He had a wonderful saying, and I'm sure most of the people in this room have heard him say it before, but it stuck with me. He said, it's nice to be important, but it's a lot more important to be nice.
Yeah.
And he was
That sound like him, yeah.
a good man.
And what was the one he always signed off his show with?
May the good Lord bless and keep you.
Yeah, but then the thing about the
Oh,
neighbors.
Be better to your neighbors.
The neighbors.
You're gonna have better neighbors. Doggone you.
I was thinking about all those concerts. He always finished with a hymn, and most of the time it was May the good Lord bless and keep you. But I love that. Yeah, he always on the Opry, he'd say, be better to your neighbors.
You're gonna have better neighbors.
You'll have better neighbors. Keith Bilbrey's wife just had bypass surgery.
Can you believe
and
that?
she's with us today.
Anna Joe, we're so glad to see you.
She looks so good, all the women are gonna be wanting to do it. I want one of those if you look that good.
Oh, you don't want to either.
I don't want to stir up anything, but did Keith cook and clean house and everything?
Believe it or not, he even got up at 7 o'clock in the morning, which is a big thing for him.
Yeah.
Wait on it.
That's major.
But I appreciate everybody's prayers. I couldn't
Well,
have
you
made
had
it
a whole
without
lot of them, and you look wonderful, and we're so glad you're back and doing great. Let me Joe business. Mike Johnson, you got a microphone over there? Grab a mic, Mike.
Hello.
Talk about a segue going from an Ernest Tubb song to this instrumental you're going to play. I don't think the Texas Troubadours, his band, they weren't the first people to do this song, I know, because it goes way back. But they had one of the real definitive arrangements, and you guys are going to do this and kind of pay tribute to the Troubadours.
Right. I love the Troubadours growing up, and I'd play in the band with my dad, and lots of times we get done about midnight in Montgomery, Alabama. And so there was a place close to the Huddle House where we'd go to eat breakfast that we could pull up to, and we could get the it would pick up WSM, so we could pick up the record shop, and every night we just sit in that truck and listen to those guys play. It was just amazing. Leon and Buddy Charlton and Buddy Emmons and like we said, Jack Green. It was always great music, And so we're going to try to do something. And we're going to try to do a little tribute to those guys here.
Well, did you bring your cowboy hats?
No.
You thought of the Troubadours, you thought of
That's right.
the cowboy hats. Ernest always dressed his band sharp. And they always not only sounded good, they looked good. Mm-hmm. All right, here's our Tennessee Troubadours.
Yeah.
Country's Family Reunion Band. Oh, that is great. That's terrific. All right, two questions. Jimmy Capps, did you ever sit in with the Troubadours? Did you ever work with them?
No. I played rhythm on some of Ernest's sessions, but I never did jam with him or anything. I wasn't qualified.
No, I thought maybe if somebody was out of town or something, maybe you'd fill in a song.
I worked one time with Ernest when it was after Leon had quit and Steve Chapman had quit, and I filled in one time on an Opry spot with him, and he called my name, and I thought that was really cool.
Did Ernest ever carry a piano? I don't remember ever hearing a piano.
Not to my knowledge. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, Dirk, you just became the first Texas Troubadour piano player. That was terrific. I know you guys worked hard on that arrangement. Panhandle Rag, the name of that song. We have a lot of viewers that would love to have a whole show full of instrumentals because they write in how much they enjoy you guys, and you are terrific. Thank you.
Bill,
Thanks for doing a great job.
Owen Bradley used to play piano on Ernest records, and he used to call him Half Moon Bradley because he always said he was half as good as Moon Mullican. So he called him Half Moon Bradley. Ernest told me something one time. I don't know whether this is original with him. It sounds like something he'd say, but he told me one time sitting on the bus. He said, "People will forget what you did, they'll forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." And boy, he lived by that.
Line.
He lived by that.
That's right.
And Bill, I remember when my dad was in the hospital the last time, and we were working the Opry that night, and we worked with Ernest. And after the show was over, he asked me how he was doing, and I told him it wasn't looking good. And I said, my dad always thought the world of you. And he always said Ernest Tubb was the fairest man he'd ever met, ever. And I said, I know it would mean a lot to him if you could ever go down to the hospital and visit him. He said, well, we're leaving town tonight. And he said, let me see what I can do. Before that night was over, just before they left town, he went to the hospital and walked in. And somebody said, who did that man say he was? And the nurse said, that was Ernest Tubb. And he came out, shaking his head, but he took that time to give of himself and to go and be there. He never talked to me later and said, by the way, I visited your dad. Wasn't for that kind of motive,
That's great.
Johnny Cash did a similar thing when my dad had a heart attack. And Mother was working the road because Daddy was able to be home if Mother's sister stayed there and took care of him and looked after him. And one night, Mother said that her sisters told her, said, you'll never guess who came to see Stoney tonight. And when I say my dad, I'm speaking of Stoney Cooper, Wilma Lee and Stoney Cooper. And Mother said, who was it? And they said, well, we came in from going to the grocery store and we looked in and there was Johnny Cash beside my dad's bed on his knees praying for him.
Oh, wow.
And that's our people. That's the way our people
Carol.
are.
That's right.
That's why this is family, these are our chosen family.
George, you were talking about various things with Ernest Tubb. I remember Owen Bradley telling me one time, you were talking about him being the innovator with the electric instruments and things. In the heyday of when Johnny Cash was playing on the Opry a lot, and really in his heyday, Owen Bradley said to me one time at the studio, he said, you think that is big applause that you're hearing for Johnny Cash? He said, you ain't never heard anything until you heard the applause that Ernest Tubb would get in 1941, 42, when he brought the electric instruments onto the stage at the Grand Ole Opry. He said it was like pandemonium. He said he was like the Elvis of his day with his music.
How did they feel about what was the sentiment when electric instruments? I'd only heard I remember when drums were accepted on the Opry.
Bob Wills was the first one. Yeah.
Was Bob? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody told me that you'd have to ask every performer would ask, or the drummer would ask each performer, do you want drums on this or not? And the only thing I'd ever heard was Grandpa Jones said, well, very little, if any. How did that? Is that true? I was always wondered, because How did Ernest Tubb?
Don't look at me when you ask that. That was 1941.
Okay,
I was not there.
Oh, okay, I guess. So that must have been that had to be a milestone, I guess. He probably caught a lot of grief maybe for that.
In the beginning, with the drums, they only allowed a snare drum, didn't they, George?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's it.
In the beginning, just the snare drum.
I heard Lester Flatt refer to an electric band. He says, "Oh, he's got one of them plug-in bands." Wasn't that Lester used to say?
That's what happened when the doo-wows came in, too.
All right, now it's getting a little close to home.
From preaching to meddling right there.
Well, now, Bob Wills, wasn't he the first one to actually have a drummer on the Opry?
I thought it was Pee Wee King.
I thought it was Pee Wee, wasn't it?
Was it?
Pee Wee King.
I think Bob Wills
Didn't they make the first drummer play behind the back curtain
Horns, yeah.
where they couldn't see him?
Yeah, because
Which is
Bob
really
Bob
funny.
was loaded up, sat on the stage and getting ready to play, and they
told him he couldn't have drums.
yeah,
He
was
said,
it Art
"Pat,"
Divine or who was the
I
general
don't know.
manager then?
Probably
But-
Vito.
Could have been Vito, yeah.
Bob
yeah.
told his boys, said, "Pack 'em up, boys.
Yeah, I
we're
said,
going
pack
home."
them up. We're going back to Texas. And they said, oh, wait a minute. You know.
Then they gave in on the snare drum.
Yeah. So I guess Ernest was the first person to bring electric guitars, but I don't know that he had drums when he came then, right?
No, I don't know. He
Okay,
didn't.
that must have been.
Drums
that sounds
came
right.
in later. Yeah, they started.
You know, when my mother and dad came out with There's a Big Wheel, which Don Gibson wrote for them, there was that big drum on the choruses. And you all know because y'all covered that song years and did a great job. But it was a drum. And so when my mother and dad went on the road, sometimes people would question them. What are you doing with a drum on there? And my dad would say, oh, it's just a little old Salvation Army drum. They said, okay. Yeah, little old Salvation Army drum.
I had the audacity one night to take a trumpet on the stage at the Opry. I had recorded that old song that Kenny Rogers in the first edition did called "But You Know I Love You," and we had a trumpet on the record. Bill McElhaney played the trumpet. Well, Snuffy Miller, a lot of y'all remember Snuffy that played drums with me for years. Snuffy knew just enough on the trumpet to play that one little line, and he would hold the trumpet in one hand and play the snare drum with the other, and the song started off with the trumpet solo, you know, and so I didn't ask anybody. I didn't know. We went out there. The record was doing pretty good, so we went out there and started the Opry show with that trumpet. I turned around. Mr. Acuff was standing over on the side. He was whiter than that piece of that red and white tablecloth there. And Art Divine, who was managing the Opry then. No, Bud Wendell. I'm sorry, Bud Wendell was managing the Opry. And they did not smile whatsoever. So we got to the end of the song, and I thought, I better walk over there. So I walked over to Bud and Mr. Acuff, and I said, did I do something wrong? Bud says, well, put it like this. Don't do it again. And we didn't.
I had a saxophone player, and every time we'd do the Opry, I would ask the Powers, can my sax player play? No horns on the Opry. Okay. Then I'd come back and can my sax player? No horns on the Opry. Well, about after the third time I did it, they told me, look, T, no horns on the Opry. If our policy changes, you'll be the first to know.
But I've seen you out there.
But now it's okay.
Marty Robbins, Marty brought him on every now and then.
I remember Johnny Cash had him.
That's
Ring
right.
of Fire.
Ring of Fire, their son.
Tom T. Hall did that one night, didn't tell anybody on the year Clayton Delaney died. That very last line, da 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 da, and his drummer did it, and he didn't ask anybody. He said he came off, and Hal Durham was standing there. Tom T., what was that? He said, it's a trumpet, Hal. You never heard of a trumpet before? He said, we're going to have to talk to Mr. Acuff about that. I don't know about it.
Don't worry, Joey, accordions are safe.
Yeah. They shouldn't be, but they are.
Joey's got the worried look on his face. The accordion going to be there.
Pack them up, boys. We're going
Pack 'em up.
Pack them up. We're going home.
Speaking of cowboys with hats, musicians with hats, I think we need some more music from the riding system. The country way, the cowboy way.
Get up there, Woody. Yes. Get up there.
You know, we brought longhorns to the opera.
Longhorns?
That's right. We were the first, I think.
Hey, can y'all put the accordion on the other
stop
side
it.
this time?
You know, since we were here last, looking at you, Roy, we did a couple tracks with one of your longtime band leaders, with Shelby, out in Tulsa.
Really? Yeah.
And we played out there in April. And Ranger Doug, you tell these people what the biggest news for fiddlers in our band is.
Well, our own Woody Paul was this year's inductee into the National Fiddler Hall of Fame.
All right.
Bill, our heroes, obviously, are the Sons of the Pioneers, who have never been Opry members, but appeared many times through the years, and we'd like to salute them by doing one of their tunes that is all about the outdoors, which is why we fell in love with this music in the first place. No broken hearts here.
Timber, over mountains high and the canyons wide. Let me roam and ride through timber. When the day is done, by the campfire's gleam, let me lie and dream of timber. Tall timber's calling, and the echoes ring. For nature sings a song along the timber trail. Blue shadows falling down the canyon's vale, and the whispering pines entwine along the timber trail. High in the sky above, a love song of the trees will blend and wend its way out on the breeze. Tall timber's calling, and the echoes ring. For nature sings a song along the timber trail. High in the sky above, a love song of the trees will blend and wend its way out on the breeze. Tall timber's calling, and the echoes ring. For all nature sings a song along the timber trail. The timber trail.
That is so great. Hey, while you're there, just a chorus, just a little bit of cool water. Just a...
Water, cool, clear water.
All day I face the barren waste without the taste of water.
Cool water. Oh, Dan and I, with throats burned dry and souls that cry for water. Cool water, clear water, cool, clear water.
The nights are cool and I'm a fool. Each star's a pool of water.
Cool water. But with the dawn I'll wake and yawn and carry on to water. Cool water, clear water, cool, clear water.
Keep a moving,
Dan, don't you listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man, and he spreads the burning sand with water. Water. Dan, can you see that big green tree where the water's running free and it's waiting there for me and you? Water, cool water, clear water, cool, clear water. the shadows sway and seem to say, tonight we pray for water. Ooh, water, water. And way up there, he'll hear our prayer and show us where there's water. Cool water, clear water, water,
cool, clear water. Dan's feet are sore, he's yearning for just one thing more than water.
Cool root beer, water,
water.
Like me, I guess he'd like to rest where there's no quest for water. Cool
water,
clear
water,
water,
cool, clear water.
Keep a moving, Dan, don't you listen to him.
Water,
he's a devil, not a man.
water,
And he spreads the burning sand with water.
Water, howdy, water.
Dan, yeah, you see that big green tree where the water's running free, and it's waiting there for me and you. Water,
cool water,
clear
water,
water,
cool, clear water.
cool, clear
water,
water, water.
I think Joey's had a little too much Red Bull.
I think
Congratulations, Woody. That's terrific, man.
Yes.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's
He was
really
talking about Mr. Roy Acuff a while ago. He was a very generous man, too. He gave me a fiddle when I graduated from high school. And I used to come back up to the Opry back in the 60s with Sam and Kirk McGee.
Yeah.
They were out where I was raised and started playing the fiddle. And my hero would have been the Howdy Forester. Although when I was about 11, my dad would put me in front of the TV. He played the 5-string banjo, and Paul, you'd be on, and then Porter, and then Flatt and Scruggs, and Paul Warren played the fiddle, of course. And my dad would just stand up there. See that's what you do. He wanted me to play the fiddle with it, turn on the TV and point to Paul whenever he'd take a break. But then I made it to the Opry, and Mr. Acuff was very gracious to me, as everybody I believe on the Opry. They're so grateful for being there and having, the wonderful praise and acclaim that they had and success in show business, and they just wanted to give it away a whole lot too. I'm the same way,
So who you going to give your fiddle to?
Well, I'm thinking about it. I've given quite a few. Believe it or not, I have them spread around all over the country. They're loaned out all over the place. Seriously.
Every time we hide one, he finds it. That's the problem.
That happened at our house, too.
And talking about Ernest Tubb, Bill, you know that Ernest Tubb was the man who inducted the Riders into the Grand Ole Opry back in 1982.
Exactly.
He was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got a great picture of Hal Durham and Ernest and us backstage right after we were inducted, and Hal's wearing my hat. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool moment. And I had hair then too, so it's very dramatic.
Yeah, Ricky.
I was just thinking, how glad I am to be family with you guys and all of you. But I'm just so proud of our Grand Ole Opry family.
Amen.
It's so diverse and so wonderful, and everybody loves each other and respects each other's music so much, and they're singing and just, I don't know, it's just
Best band at the Opry right there.
Yeah, it's just so great.
Well, I remember hearing the Opry for the first time in the late 50s, and I turned on to hear the Everly Brothers who were on, and we could get the Opry on a good night up in western Michigan, and the first thing I heard was, howdy, I'm just so proud to be here. And I was like, talk about an epiphany. Where does that happen? That sound and the rhyming. I've got to go see that. It was like Oz to me, and now I kind of get to live in Oz. I never forget that.
And you're kind of green, too.
What's that?
You're sort of green complexion.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm the munchkin.
Hey, we were bragging on the band. We were lucky enough to be asked to play the music in a musical short that eventually won an Academy Award, which was called For the Birds. And playing guitar with us on that was Jimmy Capps.
Jimmy Capps.
That's right.
Great Jimmy Capps.
They're great.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Bill.
That's terrific. The Riders.
Thanks for having us.
You know, You can tell professionals when you throw them something like they didn't know I was going to ask them to do cool water, but they just jumped right into it and did it.
The writers they're like a mini theater production. Did you notice that? All their timing and the movements is so great. They're amazing.
And they're that way. We saw them one night do their song from Woody's Roundup for our nephew Noah in the dressing room. He was still in a stroller at the time. And they just recently did it for Eden, too, Gina Keltner's daughter. But it was just like a full show. They performed like they were in front of 1,000 people. And Noah, he got it. He felt he got it.
It was fabulous.
Yeah.
Did y'all count that night on your 6,000 and whatever performances?
Probably so.
Yeah. Bill?
Yeah, Bill.
You talking about Mr. Acuff. In 1984, I got a phone call one day from a lady in Texas, and she said, Mr. Sloan? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, have you received a letter from President Ronald Reagan inviting you to the White House or to the John F. Kennedy Center, you and the dancers? I says, no, ma'am. She says, we're having a salute to Roy Acuff at the White House, and we were wondering if you all would like to be a part of it. He has asked us to call you.
Oh.
So I said, when is it going to be? Because we'll be there, you know. So we go up to the White House, the John F. Kennedy Center, and Miss Minnie was the hostess that night. Tammy Wynette was there. Miss Loretta Lynn was there. Mr. Gene Autry was there. Mr. Charlie Pride was there. The dancers, my dancers was there. And there was another band called the Charlie Daniels Band was there, along with Mr. Acuff. It was a $500 a plate thing there. It was to help the Kennedy Center. And I went to Mr. Acuff, and I said, Mr. Acuff, do you realize that it's $500 a plate to go? And I was kidding with him, you see. And he said, oh, Melvin, it's not going to cost you a thing. It's not going to cost you a thing. So we went, and it was great. It was the greatest honor. Yeah. And Mr. Acuff did that for me and for the dancers that day. That's awesome. And it's I have great memories of that. And another thing, you was talking about your dad. The last Christmas, my brother was there, alive. Mr. Acuff come and stayed 2 hours with him on a Sunday morning and brought him a huge group of flowers. And he was also pallbearer at Ralph's funeral. So I'm telling you, I know something about Mr. Roy Acuff and the kindness and how good he was to me.
That's great.
And to the dancers, yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. T. Graham, we need another good song from his tennis.
I'll be glad to. Let me take this cough drop out. Well, I guess this is our rehearsal.
Do you need the words?
I might. I'm supposed to know this one. Y'all kick it off. I think I can figure it out.
Never gave me less than her very best. She couldn't love me anymore. And she held me tight night after night. And even if she tried, she couldn't love me anymore. But I
understands. And when she lost her heart to him, she couldn't love me anymore. Oh no, no, she couldn't love me
That's great.
God bless you. Let's do that all the time.
What did you do? You didn't rehearse that with the band?
No, sir. No. That's what I'm saying. Let's just do away with rehearsals of everything.
Ooh, that was good.
That was terrific. Yeah, absolutely. Ray, we've kind of been on a cowboy western kind of a kick here. I see where you're going to do
I'm going to do a little Oklahoma Gal.
An old Oklahoma song called Oklahoma Gal.
You ready for it?
Yeah, Ray Pillows.
Thank you, Billy.
Ray, I think you talked more a while ago than I've heard you talk in 10 years. But it was great.
Well, I loosened up a little bit. It takes me a while, Bill.
Well, thanks for sharing the stories. You said you got some more stories you'll share the next time, right?
Yeah, when we got more time.
All right.
They're killers, too. Here's a song we recorded back, 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. Oklahoma Gal, guys. Bet your boots if you'd known me a year ago today, I'd be hard right now to recognize. There's a smile on my face, a spring in my step, a change of attitude, and that look of self-defeat has left my eyes. I've got an Oklahoma gal. She's not just my lover, she's my pal. Just like all the others, she's not hard to please. She don't care if I'm rich or poor, as long as she's with me. I used to wake up nights and walk the floor. Oh, but I don't have to do that anymore. My heart got broke in Tennessee, but that don't matter now, 'cause I got me an Oklahoma gal. All right, band, let's do it. I caught up with it. Knows how to fish and deer hunt too. What more could you ask? I got myself a piece of heaven here. She don't want a car, my four-wheel drive seems to suit her fine. And believe it or not, she drinks my brand of beer. I've got an Oklahoma gal. She's not just my lover, she's my pal. Unlike all the ones before, she's not hard to please. She don't care if I'm rich or poor, as long as she's with me. I used to wake up nights and walk the floor. Oh, but I don't have to do that anymore. My heart got broke in Tennessee, but that don't matter now, 'cause I got me an Oklahoma gal. Yeah, I used to live in Tennessee, but I'm an Okie now, 'cause I got me an Oklahoma. I got me an Oklahoma. I got me an Oklahoma gal. Thank you. Thank you.
That's good.
I enjoyed doing it. Thank you very much. I got a little behind there for a little bit, but I caught right up, didn't I?
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Great job. We were talking earlier about all the different types of music and all represented in the room and the different types of music represented at the Opry. We've kind of talked about bluegrass, but we really haven't gotten into as much of it as I'm sure Ricky would like to and the rest of us would. Ricky, talk just a little bit about Mr. Monroe and the influence that he had on you.
Oh, wow. Well, he was, talk about an innovator, you know. He was not playing Uncle Pen's music. You know, his uncle really inspired him a lot, played dances. He's a great fiddle player. And but he and Charlie had his brother Charlie, they started in 36, 37, 38. They had 3 years that they recorded for Bluebird, you know, and they were a very, very popular duet team. The Monroe brothers was very, very popular. Sold a ton of records. What Would You Give in Exchange for Your Soul was their first big hit, and it just went viral, as the kids would say it today. But, you know, for 1936, that was pretty amazing, you know. Someone asked him, you know, how many records he'd sold. He said, well, I don't know, but it's a way on up there. Sold a lot of records in his life. But he was a real innovator. I think when he came to the Opry in 1939, now he had to audition. Imagine that, you know. Bill Monroe had to audition for the show, you know, to make the show, see if he was good enough. And so they said he said, I made that audition, and they told me that if I ever left, I'd have to fire myself, you know. And so he, you know, he came there, I think, with a desire to come up with a sound that was unique. Roy Acuff had a unique sound. Ernest Tubb had a unique sound. Pee Wee King had a unique sound. But Bill wanted to have a unique sound that when people heard him, they would say, that's Bill Monroe's music, you know. So I think he tried a lot of different combinations of things. You know, I mean, he tried the accordion, you know, with his music, and it was great, but it wasn't quite what he was looking for. You know, Sally Ann Forster played in the band for a while Howdy was, because Howdy had been playing fiddle with Bill and then had to go to the Army. And I honestly believe Mr. Monroe was really trying to help Howdy out by giving Sally Ann some work and that kind of stuff, because he was a great man for that kind of stuff.
She's an accordion player?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it really wasn't until, he had quite a few lead singers. He had Clyde Moody was a great duet partner with him, and he had a pretty good hit with the Kentucky Waltz, you know, and that was like in '44, but it still didn't have that thing that he was really, really looking for, I believe. And
he had banjo players before.
Yeah,
Earl.
he had string bean and string, you know, played with thumb and one finger, you know, kind of like a hermit crab, you know. And but wasn't quite, you know, still didn't have what he was looking for. And He had a great lead singer in Lester Flatt. He hired Lester in 44. And then in December of 45, Strang decided he was going to leave, and they were looking for a banjo replacement. And I think Lester had pretty much got to the place with the banjo that he didn't care before they ever got another banjo player or not. I think he was young enough that he wanted something a little newer and a little different, than what Bill had been doing. And Jim, I believe is Jim Shoemate, maybe, the fiddle player, he said, Bill, I know a fiddle player or a banjo player that plays banjo different than anybody I've ever heard in my whole life, And so they went down to the Tulane Hotel there in town and had an audition with Earl Scruggs. And he was 21 years old, playing with a group called Lost John and the Allied Kentuckians. There's a name for you. And something in a name.
Something in a name.
And so anyway, Bill tried every way in the world to throw him curveballs and, just throw him something that he couldn't play, and Earl could play anything, And Earl told me I think it was last January, we were with Earl. We was working on this Monroe movie that's still never been finished and come out yet. But anyway, Earl was down there, and he was telling us all these great stories and stuff. And he said at the audition with Monroe, they did 3 or 4 songs, and finally Bill just laid his mandolin down and started dancing. And I said, I guess that meant you got the job then, right? And he said, yeah, I got the job, And but when Earl Scruggs came, with Lester singing lead, Chubby Wise came back from the Army, Howard Watts came from Florida with Chubby. Played the bass, and those 5 guys truly revolutionized acoustic music as we know it. Started a whole genre, a new genre of music that it wasn't called bluegrass back then, but they come up with a brand new sound. They had new rhythms. They had new vocabulary. Earl came up with a whole vocabulary of being able to speak with the banjo. And so did Monroe with his great mandolin playing. And of course, Chubby's great fiddle playing was very bluesy. Chubby didn't play with his little finger. So he played with these 3 right here. So when he would go down to hit an A note, he would slide from here all the way down. That's what made it have that bluesy sound. He just never used his little finger, never really learned to use it. And but they had a sound that really truly has talk about fruit that remains. The scriptures talk about fruit that remains. And
it was an exciting sound.
Oh man, it was.
We've got some old Opry transcript tapes and they would play, and it would just have so much energy, and the crowd would literally go bananas. I mean, sound like a rock concert.
Well, that's why the
Beatles on the Ed
stage,
Sullivan Show.
The rhyming stage means so much to bluegrass people because that's.
And Columbia Records, they didn't release any songs by Flatt and Scruggs and Monroe. It wasn't until Lester and Earl left Monroe's band in '48 and formed their own band that Columbia finally started releasing 78s. And I mean that band had already moved on and gone. So Bill had Mac Wiseman or Carter Stanley came along with him in 1950. The Stanley Brothers was the first band to follow Bill Monroe's style of music. So
they were really close in behind.
They were
time-wise.
In 1947. That's when the Stanley started, and here it was. They were listening to the Grand Ole Opry. So really, if it hadn't have been for the Grand Ole Opry, they was the blast furnace that was blasting this music out through the South and through the Midwest and all the way up north, because Columbia Records wasn't releasing anything, so no one could hear this music, especially by record. It was here in the Grand Ole Opry every Saturday night. You could hear Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. You can hear this new music, and then their personal appearances on the road. And then they had some early morning radio shows and stuff too that they were doing, but. Thank God for WSM, because they were really the station that gave birth to this new sound of music of Bill Monroe's. Truly a new genre of music that was given birth by a radio station and a radio show.
Bill used to love to point out the fact, too, that his name is William Smith Monroe.
That's right, yeah.
WSM.
Oh, that's a powerful name right there, yeah.
And he was, he had ancestors who was his
James Monroe, President.
Yeah, President Monroe. But, and
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
How about recreating a little bit of that style for us before we have to wrap this up?
We'll do our best here. We'll. Am I? Oh,
Nope.
I'm good. Okay.
Did you tell Mr. Monroe, as I've heard, I guess before his death or near the time of his death, did you make him a promise that you were going to carry on this music? Is that the way it happened, or is that just kind of become a legend?
Here's what I told him. He had gotten to a place where he couldn't really speak. He couldn't talk. I mean, he thought he could, but these strokes had kind of rendered his speech pretty, you couldn't understand it. And so he'd try to talk, and he'd be frustrated that you couldn't answer him back, like he was thinking in his mind, but you just couldn't tell what he was saying. So I was over there one day in the nursing home, and I could just tell that he, the last few times I'd go see him, I could tell he was carrying a lot of weight. He was just carrying a burden, because I think he had held on to this music so tight. I mean, with the music that started in '46 for him, there'd been so many people come after him, but in the '50s, he survived Elvis Presley and rock and roll.
He did. Mm-hmm.
And then in the '60s, he survived the Beatles. And he also survived Music Row, which is an amazing feat.
Very good. Very good.
Because, really, Nashville has never, honestly, really tipped its hat to bluegrass. I mean,
Not
the
until
commercial,
recently.
yeah, the commercial radio or record labels and stuff never really tipped its hat that much. I don't think to bluegrass as much as it did. They didn't think it was commercial enough, and that kind of thing. So. Yeah, it's only been recently that it's kind of changed and everything. But anyway, I just told him, I said, I know you're concerned, and I know you're worried that you're going to leave this world and bluegrass is just going to die, just cease to exist. And I could see him kind of settle down a little bit. And I said, I just want you to know one thing. I said, I'm going to do my part to keep your name alive. You let me on stage with you when I was 6 years old, and I fell in love with the man Bill Monroe that night. You became my hero because you didn't have to let me up on stage with you, but you did, and I appreciate it. And I said, I'm going to tell people how great you were, what you did in music, and I'm going to do my part. And I know that Vince and Allison and all of us, Marty and a bunch of us that love you are going to keep playing this music. So don't worry about it. I mean, just have peace in your heart knowing this music's going to long outlive you. So I think if he could have said anything, he'd have said, all right then. Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah, a few words.
Well, here's a song that he made way famous long before I came along and had me a hit on it. And I remember at the Opry one night, he come up to me after this song was out. He said, Ricky, I got a powerful check the other day on Uncle Pen, and I just want you to know you can record all my songs if you want to. Said that was a powerful check. That was a really happy thing. All right, here's Uncle Pen. Y'all sing along with us. All right, here we go. With the Bluegrass Girls. All the people would come from far away. They dance all night to the break of day. When the caller would holler, do-si-do, the new Uncle Pen was ready to go.
Rain evening about sundown, high on the hill lit above the town. May the fiddle, Lord, how it ring. You hear it talk, you hear it sing.
Soldier's Joy and the one called Boston Boy. Greatest of all was Jenny Lynn. To me, that's where it'll begin.
Rain evening about sundown, high on the hill and above the town. play the fiddle, Lord, how it rang. You'd hear it talk, you'd hear it sing.
I'll never forget that mournful day when Uncle Ben was called away. They hung up his fiddle, they hung up his bow, and knew it was time for him to go.
Late in the evening, about sitting down, high on the hill and above the town. Play the fiddle, Lord, how it rang. You'd hear it talk, you'd hear it sing. Lord, how it rang. You hear it talk, you hear it sing. Take it out, boys.
Yeah! Got a hand for that band back there, boys. Mighty fine.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing those stories, and thank you for sharing that great music, Ricky Skaggs, along with Sharon and Cheryl White. That about brings us to the end of another Country's Family Reunion, except for what T. Graham Brown's about to say.
Before we get out of here, I'm not a member of the Opry, but everybody treats me so well in here, and I just want to tell y'all thanks, man. It's always a pleasure, and y'all make me feel great when I'm here, and God bless every one of you. Thank you.
We love you, boy. And that woman of yours.
We feel like you are part of the family.
I feel like it too.
And I'll tell you too, man. When we had the floods in Nashville.
Oh, man.
I held my breath the whole time because not having the Opry during that time was one of the 30 years I've been here. It was a weird time for me for Nashville, not having the heart and soul of the Grand Ole Opry during that time, and I'm sure glad it's back, though.
Well, we had the heart and soul of the Opry. We just didn't have it at the Opry House.
That's a great,
we took it around, and I think that really spoke. Don't y'all to the spirit of the Opry?
Absolutely.
The fact that, we we took it to college campuses,
Yeah.
we took it to churches, we took
Davidson
it
County
to
tour.
the old War Memorial Auditorium, and the Opry just kept, the building took a lick, and the Opry kept on ticking.
And as a fan, I was there for y'all as a fan, because I'm a fan of all of y'all. Everyone.
Well, we didn't have the house, but we had the heart.
There you go. I'll tell you what, the Ryman was a strange place to play until Ricky Skaggs went in there and prayed some stuff out of there. I'm not kidding you. I had 2 shows there that just didn't do well, and then we did your show one time, and I said, it's different for some reason, and you told me you had a little, meeting, a little struggle there that I think you won there, because it's been great ever since. So anyway, I'm glad to have it back.
He held many pearl court.
There
He
you
held
go.
many pearl court.
Yeah. You want to share any of that with us, or
we just had some good prayer meetings in there, and just
You
really.
know, that's what it was originally, was the Gospel Tabernacle, Union Gospel Tabernacle.
And we just reclaimed it back for its original purposes. God intended that place to be a place
praise.
of praise and worship and
joy.
adoration to Him. And
I believe that this music brings Him joy and brings Him happiness. I believe that with my whole heart.
So you think God really does like country music?
I do.
And it's called the Mother Church of Country Music. It is the place.
God is
that for a reason.
God is not nearly as religious as we think He is.
That's right. Amen to that.
He's got a good sense of humor.
Yes, He does. He's a
Look at us. Might crank up a little bit of the theme, boys. We got to go to the house. Another Country's Family Reunion. Salute to the Grand Ole Opry comes to a close. Thanks, everybody. Good night. God bless you.